Welcome to the Film Ticket with Daniel and Kazek. We talk only films. No drama, no gossip, no bullshit.
So, Daniel, the Golden Globes happened this past Sunday. Did you get to see it?
No, I actually didn't. You want to tell me a little bit about what happened?
Yeah, so it was, I was pretty glad when watching it because, it wasn't a sweep night. People, one film or one director or, one TV show didn't sweep the entire event. I liked how there was a lot of a diversity in the different films and TV shows.
Yeah, that's actually really true. I mean, I looked at the list, and there wasn't really one film that just took everything. You really were right.
And you know what? I think that's better because that brings out all these new films for a generation to look at instead of one film being the one takeaway from, like, the Oscars or the Golden Globes. It gives more people a more variety of films and TV shows to watch.
Yeah, like I was looking at it. I mean, Lady Bird won Best Musical and Comedy Motion Picture. And I mean, I heard no press about Lady Bird. And the Steven Spielberg film with Meryl Streep. The Post. That has been getting so much press. That put up for, I think, 3 nominations. It got nothing, or 4 nominations, actually. And that didn't win in anything. So it's like, even though you have this dynamite cast with a great director, great advertising, still these films like Lady Bird that, they don't have a fantastic cast, fantastic director, but not as much publicity. They can still really do well at these awards.
Yeah, it was interesting that that Lady Bird won, and nobody had really heard of it until recently. Besides no offense, film nerds, but all right. So and then also for Best Drama Motion Picture was 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Now I don't know much about this film. I haven't seen it. How about you?
I saw the trailer, and so the first part of the trailer was kind of a comedy. There was a lot of jokes. It really set up Frances McDormand's character. So she plays Mildred, the lead, and it really set up her character because she's kind of this grouchy woman, kind of funny. But then as the trailer really progressed, it became almost like, oh, this is actually a drama. These are some serious events that happened. Won 4 Golden Globes. Even Frances McDormand, she won Best Actress for a drama motion picture. So outside of the trailer, I didn't hear anything in this movie, but the trailer, I mean, it was enticing. And if you haven't seen the trailer, I recommend YouTubing it. It's one heck of a trailer.
Really?
Yeah, it really is.
I've always been a big fan of Frances McDormand. Her being in all those Coen brother films.
Yeah.
Like Burn After Reading. I love Frances McDormand. And now let's go to the male side of the Best Actor in a Drama. So Frances McDormand won Best Actress in a Drama. So Best Actor in a Drama was Gary Oldman.
What an outstanding actor!
Right, I love Gary Oldman. Yeah,
good Batman. Actor in The Dark Knight and the Batman series.
He was Harry Potter as well.
He was in Harry Potter. I mean, he was in Tinker Toy Soldier, a Tinker Toy Soldier Spy, which was. I saw it. It was a good film. Besides that, I feel like he was undervalued. Might be the wrong word, but I mean, like. He's always been around. He's always been a solid actor, solid guy people can rely on. And it's really good seeing him winning this Golden Globe.
Yeah, I'm glad about that because, he's a Shakespearean trained actor and in the late 90s he was doing all these dumb villain roles that he was way too good for. Like he was in that Lost in Space reboot.
Oh yeah, I remember
which was
that.
Trash, and then he was in a villain role in The Quest for Camelot, which was animation studios were trying to bring down Disney, and because they were at the height of their animation stuff. But yeah, that was not a good film.
Didn't they bring out that film right around the time that Pixar was kind of there, and Disney and Pixar
right? I think Pixar. I think Toy Story was about to come out,
and
they
all these
right.
places, all these industries. Not these industries. All these businesses are trying to really get their films out there to be like, oh, we can compete. Right. And then all of a sudden, Pixar came out with Toy Story, and the rest is history.
Right. Right. So, and now let's switch over to the musical comedy side of acting. So the Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy was James Franco for The Disaster Artist. I actually got to see this film, and it was a good film. I thought it was going to be kind of that regular not so much slapstick comedy, but more of that like goofy comedy that James Franco and Seth Rogen are usually a part of.
Yeah, when you really pair those two together, like This Is the End, like, it's a good movie. It's a good, like, hey, I'm hanging out with my girlfriend on Saturday night. What do you want to watch? Oh, This Is the End. I mean, it's that kind of film. But when I saw the trailer for this, I'm like, wow, this is not like a James Franco normal role. He's actually, I mean, I like James Franco, but he's actually acting. He's actually becoming someone else other than, hey, I'm James Franco.
Yeah, like I'm
hey.
high. That's my
like
my
the
character.
whole interview. The interview that came out a few years ago. Like that was kind of Seth Rogen. Like, I'm just so weird.
Right.
I'm a weird dude. But this, I felt like it was interesting, and even Seth Rogen played an interesting character. He played someone other than the one role he plays in all of his other films. Seth Rogen, great writer, great actor, but I feel like both of them stretched to play this. And I mean, I didn't have the pleasure to see them film yet, but I saw the trailer and he looked absolutely phenomenal in his role. I mean, I'm very pleased we got it.
Right, and you know what? I don't know if there's really been bad things to say about him, but you know what? Dave Franco has really not been looked at as like a great actor. Like, he's good at the craft, but he is phenomenal in this film, and I was amazed that him and his brother had such good chemistry as these people that didn't look alike. I mean, I'm sorry, that did look alike, but they could somehow pull it off. Like, they didn't know each other, but they were good friends.
Dave Franco was in Scrubs, and I mean, of course, I'm a big Scrubs fan, so I was like, holy crap, you are amazing. But, yeah, he never really was this really looked upon actor. Like, he was in, what was the film? Now You See Me. Now You See Me. He was in that.
Oh, yeah.
And even in that film, I feel like he was kind of underlooked because you're sitting there with, who was it? Amy Adams, Woody Harrelson. Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg.
Mark
Woody
Ruffalo.
Harrelson.
Right.
Like, he was, okay, let's just be honest here. Like, out of all that list, he is basically the...
Oh, yeah, he's at the bottom.
He's at the bottom of that
You don't think about Dave Franco
list.
in that film.
You don't think about him, but in Disaster Artist, I mean...
He's there.
He's really making a name for himself.
Right.
I mean, like, I don't really know if I see this kid as he can lead something, he can lead his own movie on his own, but pair him with someone else, pair him with, another James Franco, I think he could do really well.
And I think if he gets more, he, like you said, he was in Now You See Me, so he's in these ensemble casts. He's in movies that can support him. He's with his brother in this film. And I think, if he did a couple more ensemble films or one where he's not entirely leading the movie, I think he can get to that point where he's the leading man and people will go see a film because Dave Franco's in it. Because I think he has that potential.
I mean, it might. Okay, I mean, of course, you can't do. You can't get a film with just his name tomorrow because it won't really sell. But I mean, a couple years, do a few more films. I could see it. I mean, it'll be an interesting thing.
Now we're gonna switch over to the Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy, and so who won this one was Allison Janney for her performance in I, Tonya. And I've always been a big fan of Allison Janney, in Juno and The Way Back. She always plays like a befuddled kind of mom character. So what do you think about Allison Janney and how she won this?
I like Allison Janney. I think she's a great actress. Of course, I like trailers. I watch a lot of trailers. I haven't seen I, Tonya yet. But
actually, me neither. So
yeah, we haven't seen it. But I thought in the trailer, she really made herself notable. And she was in The West Wing, 1999, a good television show. And I mean, even in that, she was really good. I mean, she nominated for a Golden Globe, and so she's always been around. She's always been a really solid actress, and I'm really glad she got this win.
I think that was not necessarily her big break, but I think that's how she got pretty famous, was on The West Wing, because a lot of people like that show.
I think it is very well known by most people who really
right.
watch. Okay, it's probably not well known through our generation, but for that generation that was watching those shows in 1999, which were our parents because they couldn't sleep because we were crying the whole time, I think they really enjoyed that show. And I think you ask your parents, I think they would say, oh, yeah, The West Wing, that was a good show.
Right. All right. So
one question by our producer that we were just asked was, do we think Allison Janney is typecasted? Because she was in the television series Mom. And now in I, Tonya, she plays the mom for Tonya.
She's the mom. She's the neighbor mom in Way Back. She's the mom in Juno.
Yeah, is she a typecasted woman? Can she really explore outside of these characters of just moms? Can she play something more than that, or is she? I mean, from now on, the mom, and then as she goes older in age, will she then become the grandma? Will she never be able to escape this mold?
Well, I like to think that, I mean, this was, 14, 15 years ago. She was in The West Wing, and I think she had a different character in The West Wing, so I feel like that exposure would make her, susceptible to other roles. I don't know how long it's been, but yeah, she's been typecasted a lot since then as the mom character. But she's typecasted because she's so good at it, and she goes to those auditions. She gets picked because she's so good at it. And I mean, yeah, sometimes there is a problem with typecasting because it just becomes the same thing over and over again, or it becomes dry. But I don't think people really realize that Allison Janney has been typecasted as the mom constantly. And if people have realized, I don't think they've cared because she's just so good at it.
No, I mean, if you really think about Allison Janney, I mean, you're going to say a few things, but I don't think people, consciously are going to be like, oh, she was the mom in this. She was the mom. No one's going to sit down and ever say that. She's going to be like, she was great in Juno. She was great in I, Tonya. She's great in Mom. She was great in The West Wing. People are going to say those things, but they're never really going to think to themselves, oh, she's just a typecasted person.
Right. It's not like, a Tom Cruise film. Like,
No.
He's in a bunch of action films, and that's how
No,
he
Tom
acts.
Cruise is like notably, he is typecasted. Let's just all be real here. I mean,
Yeah.
he is a typecasted dude. But no one's
nowadays. Not back in the 80s.
Back in the 80s, he actually had some, like...
He was versatile.
He was versatile. He was a versatile man. And then all of a sudden, he did...
Mission Impossible.
So all of a sudden, he did the Mission Impossible films. And then
now
all of
he's
a
the
sudden, it's
same
just
guy.
like, he is the same character
Right.
every movie. But in the 80s, he was versatile.
All right, so that's it for our Golden Globes wrap up. So now we're going to talk about some upcoming films in the media, and some of those actually have some Golden Globe nominees because some of those aren't even out yet. But yeah, so we're gonna go to some new upcoming films here. So that new Liam Neeson film's coming out, The Commuter. I think about a guy about a terrorist attack on a train.
So our producer just gave us a little bit of information. The Commuter looks like The Passenger.
And you know what else it looks like? Have you ever seen that Jake Gyllenhaal film called The Source Code?
No, I have not.
It's exactly like that too. And Source Code came out in like 2006.
So, but I mean, really, if you think about it, when you have like a drama, or you have an idea that works, guy is in a confined space, has a limited amount of time, has to do a certain task, or people are going to die, or information is going to get out. People are like, oh my gosh, it's a thriller. Oh my God, it's exciting.
Right.
If you have that idea, you can mix it up. You can do different things. Oh, he's on a train. He's on a plane. He's on all these different items. But when you do The Commuter and The Passenger, like 2 years apart with the same actor, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, and you know what? Like you said, they're in thriller situations. They're on a train. They're on a plane. I can probably name like 3 or 4 movies at the top of my head that are exactly like, like even like that have that premise, right? So there's, we said Source Code, Passenger, Commuter, which is coming out. Snakes on a Plane, Airplane, Flight 97, or just Flight with Denzel Washington. There's a ton of films like that.
I mean, or even if you want to think about it, Deja Vu with Denzel Washington back in the day, where he like goes back in time. He's like limited amount of time to save this thing from save this boat from blowing up.
Or what was that Keanu Reeves film where he's on a Speed? That's the exact same thing.
I mean, if you really think about it, there's like 7 stories, and you really can't like move away from those 7 stories. Like thriller. Oh, we gotta find things that are thrillers. And I mean, come on, no one's gonna touch the Quentin Tarantino type films, because if you try to do a Tarantino film, like, oh, you're gonna get ripped apart. So we're gonna do what everybody else does and be like, oh, we're unique. It doesn't actually work.
And not to crap on The Commuter or anything.
No.
Like, I mean, maybe it'll be good. We don't want to count it out because Liam Neeson is a great actor.
Phenomenal.
And actually, speaking of typecasting, he has been slightly typecasted a lot since Taken. But you know what? That's okay. He's still a good actor. Might be getting a little old, but that's okay. Maybe he can pull it on. And I don't want to put this movie down, but I'm really not excited.
Look, I love Liam Neeson. I thought he was great. I mean, Of course, back in the 90s and the 80s, he did a lot of very great dramatic films. He was in Star Wars, which, come on, you're in Star Wars, you're in the top echelon of my book.
Phantom Menace is the greatest film of all time.
Phantom Menace. Darth Maul is the best villain next to Darth Vader. I don't care what you say. You will not change my mind.
So are you excited for this film?
You know what? I think I'll rent it. But it'll be a movie. That's a rentable movie. I'm not gonna go pay $6 or $12 or whatever it is now at the movie theater to go see this film. It's a renting type of a movie.
Right. And honestly, I know once again I don't want to be a jerk, but this movie I'll probably find on the TV like 3 years later, just flipping through the channels, and I'll watch like 10 minutes of it thinking it's taken, but then it's not.
Yeah.
And so then I'll just change the channel. And also, for those of you who don't understand sarcasm, Phantom Menace is probably the most important movie to this date.
So we're gonna move on here. Wow, I actually don't know if I can work with you anymore.
And now, so on to the next film.
50 Shades Freed. Gross. Moving on.
All right, so next film. Okay, for those of you that like 50 Shades Freed, okay.
Let's not even touch on that. Let's just move on.
So then, next one, coming out later this year. It's summer blockbuster, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. So Jurassic Park is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I think is a great film. There would be no films nowadays without that special effects breakthrough from Jurassic Park. And so when I watched this trailer, I was like, oh, maybe should I not watch this trailer? Because, when you watch like a big trailer you get excited for, you can't sleep that night or whatever. Like when I watched that new Star Wars trailer before I saw the film, I couldn't sleep that night because I was so excited for it. And so then when I saw Jurassic World one, I was like, well, should I watch this before I go to bed or else I might not be able to sleep? So I thought, screw it. We'll watch it, see what happens. So I watched it, and, oh, man, I could sleep easily that night because I was not excited.
Yeah, so here's my problem with all these after Jurassic Park, the first one.
Right. I
was constantly disappointed because they tried. They tried too hard. If you are, an aspiring filmmaker or something, here's the advice that I have as a critic, because I can't do it. Don't give 120%, but act like you're giving 10%. Because the minute you start trying is when a movie fails. Like in Jurassic World, the first Jurassic World movie they did, they were trying. They were trying to start this. And now I feel like with Fallen Kingdom, they're continuing just to try. Oh, we have to make money because Jurassic Park back in the day was phenomenal. And if we do this interesting concept, we're going to make money. And it's just, stop trying. Like that's...
Yeah. I saw the trailer and, Jeff Goldblum's in that trailer. They're putting Jeff Goldblum in this film, to like hopefully get some old viewers back,
Yeah.
And you know what? I like Jeff Goldblum. I think he's a fine actor, but that's not going to bring anybody back. I want this movie to work. I want it to work so badly because I love Jurassic Park, and I want it to work so bad. I like Chris Pratt as an actor. He's a good actor. Bryce Dallas Howard is she's fine.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her much. She's in Black Mirror, right?
Yeah, she's in Black Mirror.
Right. Yeah, so she's a good actor.
So the release date for this film is June 22nd, 2018. So if you're looking for a summer film, you're outside with the kids all day or you're outside with your significant other all day, you're tired, you don't know what to do, go to a nice air-conditioned theater, watch a nice film, June 22nd.
Right. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to go see this.
Oh, definitely.
Just to see how it is. I don't want to, be disappointed, but I'm not going to go in with
some
high
of the
hopes.
movies that's it's one of the movies you got to go see it.
Right.
Movies come out. The next film we're going to talk about is Red Sparrow, starring the great and beautiful, the talented Jennifer Lawrence. So this movie, if none of you are familiar, if not watched the trailer, it's an interesting trailer. So it's all about a girl in Russia, and she has to go and become a sparrow, which is basically a spy for the government. And she has to kill an American sleeper agent, and she ends up falling in love with him, and then the two of them try to escape Russia. So it's basically a thriller love story.
Oh, Jennifer Lawrence. I don't want to be a jerk again, but Jennifer Lawrence is the worst. She's fine in the one movie I can stand her in is Silver Linings Playbook. That is an okay movie. I like Silver Linings Playbook. She's good in that movie. In every other movie, she just seems so obnoxious, so in your face. She's like, I'm Jennifer Lawrence, I'm quirky, and her accent in this trailer is not a good Russian accent.
No, it's really not. But okay, so if we think about it though, in cinema history, there's always been. Of course, I'm not saying that it's only just women. Like men, there's always like a few guys who are like, okay, you're good looking. We're gonna put you in a bunch of movies. You might not have talent, but we're gonna put you in movies. So this is the same for women as it is men. But I feel like also for women, there's like a few girls who are put into films because they're beautiful. Jennifer Lawrence is beautiful. They have talent. And they look the part. I think she got Silver Linings Playbook. She looked the part. She did really well. She looked the part in the Hunger Games series. Right. So she looked the part. And because she did those and because she did a phenomenal job, then she starts getting all these parts because she has a name. Right. And I feel like this is the same for men as it is women. That some actors like, okay, you got a part. You might not have talent, but we're still going to give you some stuff. Like, right. So Chris Hemsworth. Okay, he's a good-looking guy. He got Thor. He does well in Thor.
He's good at Thor.
I can't see him doing anything else.
No, he was in that Ron Howard film about the whale in the heart of the sea.
Yeah,
his accent goes in and out. You have no idea what he's talking about the entire film.
He's typecasted.
Yeah, right.
He can be Thor. He can be Thor until the steroids get away from him.
He is so good at Thor.
He's so good, but honestly, that's all he can really do.
And yeah, I don't want to crap all over Jennifer Lawrence and her acting. It's fine, but it doesn't work in every single role. It doesn't work in every single film that whatever that guy's name is who directed American Hustle, Silver Linings Playbook, the guy that puts her in everything. Like she doesn't work in every single film, and like that's okay, but. She just needs to stop casting her. Some people say like, oh, Jennifer Lawrence, is the new Meryl Streep, and you know what? I kind of want to agree with that because Meryl Streep has had some awful roles just because she's Meryl Streep and they put her in the film, and you know what? Jennifer Lawrence might be the same thing.
That's actually a really good point about how she might be the next Meryl Streep because, Meryl Streep has had some terrible...
She's had some flunk, like
terrible
Ricky
roles.
in The Flash. Do you remember that
film?
Yeah,
I remember that. I really have been trying to forget it since it came out.
Sorry.
I mean, no. It's not your fault, of course. It's whoever wrote the dang film. But, look, Jennifer Lawrence, she'll go down as, a very great actress in this generation. So,
Sorry.
But Red Sparrow, it does have a dynamite cast if you actually look at it.
Right, I like Jeremy Irons. I like Joel Edgerton. They're good actors.
They're all awesome. Jeremy Irons, when he was in Die Hard with a Vengeance, he was a really good villain.
I forgot about that.
Like, we're playing Simon Says. That was awesome. He was a great Alfred. We can all hate on the Batman movies.
What Batman was he in?
Batman v Superman.
He was?
Yeah, he was Alfred.
I didn't know that.
We can all hate on the Batman movies, and we can all hate on DC, but we all have to admit, every Alfred is always good.
Right.
Like, we always get someone solid to play Alfred, and Alfred is always a great character.
And honestly, Jeremy Irons could be one of, the greatest villains of all time as Scar in The Lion King.
Oh, my gosh. You know what?
Remember how diabolical he is?
I think
it's scary.
I think that movie changed every kid growing up. So Red Sparrow. So this movie comes out March 2nd, 2018. Good movie. Please don't bring the kids to it, but it'll be a good film. I think it'll sell at the box office.
Yeah, maybe a date movie. I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. I don't know.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting after March 2nd. We'll definitely review this film We'll definitely review this film in March,
and we'll laugh at what we're saying now because
we'll laugh at what we're saying. We'll repeat it what we said. We'll get some quotes and the like, and it'll be an interesting time.
Well, so there are a lot of more upcoming films. If you want to look that up, Google it. Go on IMDb. I'll look at any more upcoming films. And if you want to have us review any more upcoming films or films from the past. be sure to put it in the comments below. And so now we're going to move away from the upcoming film segment, and we're going to go to our final segment of the podcast, where we discuss a film that one of us likes and one of us dislikes. And so the film today that we'll be discussing is Inception.
So I was a really big fan of this film. Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ellen Page, Tom Hardy, Ken Watanabe, really a great ensemble cast. So the whole premise of the film, if you haven't seen it already, and if you haven't seen it, I want you to stop the podcast, go watch it, and come back. Because I want to know, because, this is an interesting film, and we're going to have to say some spoilers while really debating this film. And I don't want to ruin this film for you guys. I want you guys to go watch it yourself, see what you think. I think it's great. So the whole premise of this the movie is dreaming, and that you have ideas, and an idea in your head can really change who you are. And so this is a group of people who are able to infiltrate your dreams and plant an idea. And these ideas, because you think you're dreaming, but you can see it. You can see this dream quite vividly. And all of a sudden you have this idea, and it changes everything about you. So people pay Leonardo DiCaprio's character to go in and either extract information from somebody, from a high-level executive, or to plant an idea in somebody's mind. The whole premise is them going into Cillian Murphy, who plays Robert Fisher. And so the idea that they want to plant in this guy's mind is that he needs to break down his father's empire. And so that's the majority of the movie, about an hour of the movie, takes place inside of here. It takes place inside of his mind, trying to get him to believe this thing. So the whole idea is trying to put this thought in Cillian Murphy's character's mind.
So you like this film?
You know what? I liked it. I thought it was a mind-boggler. It was something that you thought about. It was a movie that there are movies that you don't talk about once you leave the theaters. But there are movies that on that drive home when you're with your family, you're talking about it. You're sharing ideas. You're getting all these thoughts bumping off one and another. You're getting these thoughts bumping off each other, and it makes for good conversation. It makes for, okay, now we need to rent this movie, watch it again, and have more conversation, because these types of movies, they sell and they keep selling.
Right. So I have one main rebuttal for you. Inception is The Matrix, but with dreams. Think about that.
No, you know what? That actually, no. It really does, because like in the dream state, it's kind of like you have a reality and you're going into a different, not reality, and that's what the Matrix is. Everybody believes they're in reality, but they're really in a program, and they're trying to get out of the program. That is the Matrix in a nutshell.
Right.
And so, you're not wrong.
So,
and I'll give that to you.
And
you're not wrong.
The other reason I didn't like this film was the middle part is when they're planning the whole end, climax part. Dream sequence. It's dry, it's boring, and honestly, I think only a few people just really truly understand the science behind it, when the rest of the people are just like, oh, they're going into a dream. Mm-hmm. So if most of the people are thinking, oh, they're just going into a dream, then why have such a dry explanation that not very many people are going to understand? And I understand that makes me sound like a shallow filmmaker, but at the same time, it kind of seems like why waste so much time on it when there could be more interesting things happening, like developing the characters more. Because I didn't feel like I knew the characters really well. The only character I felt like I knew, was Leonardo DiCaprio, but he hid his emotions so much that even then I didn't know much about him, and maybe that's supposed to add to the illusion, but for me, it just kind of took me out of the film.
They open up the film very nicely, and I thought the first hour was very good because they really explained Leonardo DiCaprio. And they understood the circumstances in which the film was going to happen. But in order for them to go into the dream sequence, and the dream sequence is basically a big action scene, and I love it. It's a series of action scenes, series of high intensity, high thrillers. But if you go from the beginning, which is a high thriller, And in the middle, you still have that high thriller. Toward the end, you can't have another high thriller because you're not going to continue. You're not going to be able to keep people. People's emotions are like a roller coaster. And if there's always an up, there's always going to be a down, and you can never continuously keep climbing. No matter how hard you try, you can't continuously keep climbing in like this thrilling state. So I think the middle it wasn't dry, but it was like, it wasn't dry, but it was necessary because you wanted to explain, they dubbed down the science for everybody. And for people that did understand the science, good for you. You're way the heck smarter than me. Cheers. But for all of us that didn't understand the science behind it, he did make it so you could understand it. You understand what a kick was. You understood what was really going to happen. You understood like, you didn't really understand it, but you had a firm grasp. But you understood when they went into the dream, you could, you in the back of your mind, I know what's going on here. Mm-hmm.
And Christopher Nolan does that in a lot of his films where he puts a bunch of like not always sciencey stuff. There's a lot of science. There's a lot of complex plots that he puts in there.
He's a very smart man.
Yeah. He's great. I love Christopher Nolan, and I think he's a great director. He's a great writer, and his brother, Jonathan Nolan, does a lot of his movies with him, and I think he's great. And just this movie, I'm not a big fan of, and not to say that I hate it or that I don't like it. I understand why people think it's like one of the greatest movies of all time. I understand why it won 4 Oscars. I understand why it has like a massive score on IMDb, Metascore, and Rotten Tomatoes. I understand that. It's just me personally. I couldn't get into the film. I didn't think like the characters were developed that much. I wanted to see more of the Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Ellen Page character, but there wasn't that much of that. And that's okay that, I don't like it. It's okay to have different opinions here on the show and everywhere, of course.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, by all means, I don't hate this film. I accept that people think it's a good film, and I recognize that it is a good film. Me personally, I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, like with the whole character development thing, because most movies, when you have a Leonardo DiCaprio and you have this, a lot of good names, you need to develop their characters. You need to show who each of these characters are. You need to show what they're all about.
But otherwise, it's just Leonardo DiCaprio in a role, so you can't really get into it.
Yeah, I do definitely get it. But I'm just like, when I was watching this, I felt like, okay, Tom Hardy's character, you got it. You understood who he was. Mm-hmm. You understood who he was. You didn't really need you didn't need really anything else with it. Ellen Page's character, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I feel like everyone was to develop the point that they need to be. Leonardo DiCaprio's character, it was continuously developing, but not at a rate that it had to be. It was at a rate it needed to be to propel the story forward because his character is what, the story revolves around. But the character that was truly developed and that needed to continuously to be developed is Cillian Murphy's character in Robert Fisher, because he is who the last hour of the film takes place around. So I think for some films, you don't need to, this is a weird concept, you don't need to develop your lead character, you need to develop the idea that they're going to be faced in front of. You know what I mean by that? Like, you develop Cillian Murphy, and all of a sudden, you as an audience is like, oh my gosh, I wonder how they're going to do this. How are they going to infect this person's minds? So you have the audience thinking, and you're like, how is Cobb, how is Leonardo DiCaprio going to actually be able to make this happen?
Yeah, that's a very good point. All right, and so that will end that segment and end the show of our first episode here. I've been Kazek.
And I'm Daniel, and we really want to thank you for tuning in for our first episode. We really enjoyed doing this. If you have any thoughts about what we talked about, please leave us a comment. We love comments. We love hearing feedback. Give us a like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and tell your friends about us. If you enjoy this podcast, and if you didn't, still tell your friends about us. We like, even if you're like, oh, I don't know about this going into it, hey, we might be able to change your mind. So please give us a like. Tell your friends about us. We do enjoy people listening. But thank you, and tune in next week. We're going to have more segments. It could be different, could be the same. We really don't know. But please tune in. It's going to be a great show. So thanks for stopping by.
See you next time.
Cheers.